We'll do it live. Fuck it. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live. And thing sucks.
Guys.
I love that opening.
Yeah, he's it's not the best thing Bill O'Reilly's ever done.
Right.
For me to know, yeah, you've got that one down pat, player. Fellas, how's it going, man? Day after Valentine's Day. Sorry. How you all feeling?
Thanksgiving.
I wish it would be more football. I wish it would be more football to watch, you know. I'm okay though.
Okay, all right. Dave from Vikings Person Skull, man, how you feel?
Oh, I feel great. Valentine's for me is a big nothing because I'm happily single. And I love it after being married way too long. It's it's one of them holidays. But I know everything's going great.
I love to hear it, man. So, in case you all didn't know, I got to start the show right here, man. America's favorite pastime just occurred again. And I'm not talking about the Super Bowl either.
No,
Taylor Swift watching.
That's another one of their favorite pastimes in America. But I am talking about senseless violence that happened during the Kansas City parade. You know, two pastimes butting head to head. For everyone out there that's affected or feeling any strife or disbelief or maybe even any trauma from it, hearts out to you. At some point, I will love to see an end come to these type of things, because words and platitudes don't bring anybody back, you know. So I just needed to get that off my chest there, gentlemen. You all got anything to say?
Stop the violence. Not much.
I just want to say it's insane that on such an occasion that this could happen, and I just think it's senseless. It's very senseless. Children were injured and a person lost their lives, and for what? This is supposed to be a time of celebration, and you shouldn't have tragedy at a time of celebration. You just shouldn't. So,
no, you shouldn't. No, you shouldn't, man. It's at some point we want to move past this. At some point, we want to believe that they're telling it, that they actually care about, you know, keeping those of us around, keeping us around, basically. Children and elderly and everyone else included. So
care about your
fellow
human
being. They were celebrating. Yes, they were celebrating a football game. The Kansas City Chiefs, the Taylor Swifts, the Kelseys, the other team in red, the good one. They did it again. 3 Super Bowl wins in 4 tries. Gentlemen, how did you all feel about that game? I got it wrong. I said the Niners are going to win. I wanted to believe it more than I figured it would happen. Patrick Mahomes he's a bad man. He's Thanos. He's inevitable. It looks like.
Looks like could be the GOAT. Now, granted, he doesn't have as many wins as Tom Brady yet, but he's done a lot in his short, 28 years old time period that, we're going to be discussing it like LeBron versus Jordan versus Russell, Tiger versus Nicholas. It's going to come down to Mahomes, Brady, Montana type of debates here in 10 or 20 years.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's definitely gonna move out that way. So you can already see it. You can already see it. You can already see it coming. Pause. That he's got the talent. He doesn't have to win another Super Bowl, and the rest of it is however long his career goes. He doesn't have to win another one because he's got 3. That's rarefied air already, right? So all he has to do now is just climb the record books, and that's the final frontier for him and Tom Brady. He's eclipsed, in my opinion. He's eclipsed Dan Marino. He's eclipsed Joe Montana. He's eclipsed Peyton Manning. It's just 2 guys in the conversation now.
Peyton Manning, it took him a long time to win a Super Bowl, right? Like, didn't it?
You didn't win one until he was in his 30s.
And he's 28 with 3.
Yeah.
4 trips. Yep.
And
did he win one with the Colts, or did he have to go to Denver? Yeah.
No.
Peyton won one with Colts and one with Denver.
He has
Denver.
2.
Yeah, we ain't gonna talk about it.
Yeah.
But you say John Elway didn't win until he was up there in age.
He was old. Yeah, he was. Yeah.
He
And Marino never won, right? Yeah. So,
No.
Nope.
So, yeah. Joe Montana, I feel like he was kind of overly celebrated. Like,
Okay, explain.
He what?
This is before my time, but I feel like the numbers weren't there. Really, were they?
He has 40,000 passing yards, 3 Super Bowl wins.
Maybe I'm thinking of Aikman, and I'm a halfway.
I don't know how you confuse those two, but maybe you are.
Because Aikman has Aikman. I mean, when you think about the team he played for, he was highly celebrated. But when somebody like pressed me on the actual numbers, I was like, oh, man, like
you gotta think of like this too, Foster. Joe Montana did what he did when the league was a predominantly run league. This is a pass
with Jerry Rice.
I mean, it doesn't matter who. I mean, you can't fault him for having a good receiver on the team.
Who was his running back?
That's
Roger Craig.
Roger Craig. He had a plethora of them.
Hurst was Steve Young.
It was more so Roger Craig than anything.
Yeah.
But he should be in the Hall.
But the thing is
Garrison Hurst, you think should be in the Hall?
No, Craig.
Oh, Roger Craig. Craig is a guy. I feel like Craig is.
I think he had 1,000 yards receiving and 1,000 yards passing. I mean, rushing in the same season. I believe so.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
the dual threats weren't around back then.
No, he was the first. He created the mold that CMC that's living in right now. CMC is the second guy ever to.
I never saw Craig play. I can't say that I ever paid attention to that. But Garrison Hurst was like the beginning for sure.
Yeah. So
another thing, guys. So San Francisco 49ers did it again. They had a Super Bowl lead once again over Pat Mahomes and blew it. Another double-digit lead over the soon-to-be GOAT and blew it. This is the 3rd consecutive Super Bowl that offense that Kyle Shanahan was calling and had a lead in the second half, double digits, and could not bring it home. Cannot bring home the bacon. I got a stat for you guys. This is a little known stat. Maybe you knew it because you guys are football geniuses. But the Dallas Cowboys have won a Super Bowl more recently than the San Francisco 49ers.
Really? That makes sense, but that's still
sounds crazy, but it's true.
Shocking.
Well, Steve Young is his last one, and that was a long time ago. So
it was before Aikman. Yeah,
that's believable.
Well, trust me, me living here in Austin, I hear about the Cowboys not being able to win it in forever.
Right. I just let you know that they are America's team because everybody's paying attention to what they got going on. Speaking of Kyle Shanahan, I'm gonna just ask you all straight up: do you all think he knew the overtime rules? I don't think so.
I was kind of confused about the timing I know about the possession. If you score, only way you can end it on the first possession is a touchdown. That's a given. I know each person.
No,
Can't
not
do
in
that.
no. Not in the Super Bowl.
That's
Mhm.
different. See,
Yeah.
I don't know the rules.
I don't.
They changed it part of in 2022
Okay,
after
what are the rules then?
that each team will get a possession. After the two possessions, if it is tied, then it goes to sudden death.
That's correct.
At
Okay.
the end of the
Or-
first overtime period, there will be a break and they will go into a second overtime period and rinse and repeat as necessary until
I could have
somebody scores.
swore the ref said the game is over. I mean, each team will get a chance to possess the ball unless the first team scores a touchdown. I could have sworn he said that.
No, defensively, if you
Yes.
if you score on defense, it's a wrap. You're cooked if they that's what it was. Because I was like, no, you're right. But yeah, if you get a pick six first, you got your opportunity.
That means both teams possess the ball. That would satisfy that. Gotcha.
Correct.
Yes, yes.
Gotcha.
You had it first, and yeah.
Yeah.
That's tricky though. That's tricky
Yeah.
because
I've
you
been
got to say it
trying.
right. Otherwise, it's all messed up.
Now, Shanahan was thinking, from what I gather, I heard his explanation. And he was wanting, I think, to give his defense a rest. That's why he took the ball first. And then hoping to score, and then that the defense would hold the Chiefs, and even if they did score, hold them on, because he probably figured they would either go for extra point and tie it, which would give him the advantage because now they're in sudden death and they have the ball, or he'd hold the defense would hold them on a 2-point conversion try. Is how I gathered that he interpreted that versus what Kansas City did. They interpreted it as, when San Francisco says, we'll take the ball, they were shocked. It's like, okay, cool. Because if you get the ball second, you now know what you have to do to tie or win.
Yeah.
And so everything comes down to it's a 4-down drive or 4 downs available for each first down, because you have to score. Then you know what you have to do, how to score, and what to do after that to win. Whether it be if say San Francisco had scored a field goal on that first drive, Kansas City could have gone down and at minimum scored a field goal, then it would have gone into sudden death. Or since they scored, if San Francisco would have scored, and they did score a field goal, if they would have scored a touchdown, then Kansas City knows we've got to score a touchdown, and everything's open on they got 4 downs to make that first down as they march down the field. And then at the end, Kansas City reportedly had already talked about it. They were going to go for 2 if that was the case.
Oh wow.
Yeah. I haven't heard Shanahan say he wanted to give his defense a rest. I was the excuse I was giving him this whole week was that he wanted his defense had just been on the field for a while. He may have wanted to give him a rest. However,
that may have been it.
However, yeah, you heard from me. However, what I have heard him say is that he wanted to have the first crack at winning the game, the third possession.
Mm-hmm.
And when I heard that, I'm like, nah, you can't say that and say that you knew the rules, because there's no way that you assume that there's going to be a third possession.
Right.
If you take the ball first, right, and you say, okay, I'm going to take the ball first, and I'm going to score 3 or 7, and put the pressure on them to match. That's Pat Mahomes over there, bro.
Mhm.
Yeah.
If you're gonna put the pressure on him, you got to put the pressure on him. You got to go in there and get that touchdown, go for them fourth, and then you got to go get that 8.
For sure.
Yeah.
And see,
Yeah,
and this
kicking a
right here
field
lets me
goal
know.
killed all that.
Yeah.
This right here lets me know that Shanahan would never win a Super Bowl.
Nah, because on the NFC side, he's not.
Nah,
Won't be
they
back.
threw Steve Wilkes under the bus because he don't know the rules, and Shanahan keeps blowing 10-point leads. Nah, he'll never win it. His dad got the only rings in that family.
Look here, man. It might sound insensitive, but score a touchdown, keep the other team out of the end zone. You don't need to know a rule. Play ball. Play ball.
Yeah.
Well,
ideally.
he fired the defensive coordinator.
Yeah,
I
he
saw that.
got canned. But you know what? You see how many times, just total, how many times they kept him out of the end zone? They held him to a field goal. I mean, the dude kicked a 57-yarder field goal. Was it 57, 55?
55. It was record, yeah.
Like, I mean, you kept him out of the end zone. Like, that's Mahomes over there. Like, you can't fault the defense for what happened that day.
Reactionary. You know how that go.
Yeah, it's up until then, the defense have been lights out for Frisco all year long. And I guess on the biggest stage you lose, but that wasn't all on the defense.
Well, Jordan Love and how the Lions had them the first in the playoffs, they look kind of shaky. They got a couple breaks on goofy fumbles and drops, but playoffs they didn't look all that great.
I mean, they didn't look fire your defensive coordinator bad.
Well, like I said, reactionary given the situation, sometimes it's a scapegoat. We know that because our DB coach.
If that's fired. The case, Aaron Glenn would have been gone Game 7.
Well, but last year the DB coach did get fired, and then we kind of got our act together. But the
DB coach should have got a beat down before he got fired last year. He should have got hands put on him. That was pretty terrible.
Well, we don't know how his exit out the door was. We know the door hit him with a good Lord split him. We know that much.
Probably should have jumped him on the way out. You know.
Well, in Vikings land, we call it the Kirk Cousins curse.
And what is that?
Any team that Kirk Cousins has beat that season and made the Super Bowl, every team that Kirk Cousins has beat that season and made the Super Bowl, and we defeated San Francisco this year, lost the Super Bowl. And he's done it a good like a half dozen, 8 times.
That's crazy.
And we joke about it and call it the Kirk Cousins curse. But it's just coincidence, but it's happened a lot of times.
Hey. What, the Eagles? So you
saying
the Eagles?
Feel about that, how do you all feel about that halftime show?
I thought it was great. It's not the greatest ever halftime show. That was Prince in the Rain.
Yeah,
sorry.
Of course.
That's it. Number one.
Hands down. That's agreed.
Wait, that was in the rain?
Oh yeah, it was pouring.
And when was this?
Oh shit!
Oh man,
sorry.
It was in Miami
7-8 years ago. It wasn't that long ago.
Oh, I was thinking it's more like 10 plus years ago. It was in Miami and Hard Rock Stadium, and it was just raining, and it started pouring, and he started doing Purple Rain. And the producer asked him in the headset, "Is there anything more you could do?" And he goes, "Have it rain harder." And it just, God was listening, and it just dumped as he's doing Purple Rain in the rain. You know, everybody's worried about the electronics shorting and electrifying everybody on stage. It was perfect.
Prince
that's chilling. That's chilling. I ain't gonna lie. That's chilling.
No, but
Who was actually playing that day? Do you remember?
when Prince played
Yeah.
with Prince, well, the headliner was Prince. I don't remember.
No,
who
no, no, no.
else.
Like
No,
the
No,
team.
no. The teams. Who was
I
the
don't
team?
remember. Let's see. Let me look up Prince.
That'll give
I
me a
only,
gauge on how long ago
I
that was.
only remember the last Miami Super Bowl, and that was the last time these two played, and it ended the same way. Yeah, I agree. Prince is the standard, but this Usher show was pretty good. In 10 years from now, we'll probably be
2007.
Ah,
okay.
Oh wow.
Okay.
So that was
That was the Pats. Pats were in that Super Bowl. Pats and
That's not hard to guess, man.
Pat,
You figure-
Super Bowl 41. It
Pats and
was
Giants.
but the Giants won though, right?
yeah, because
yeah,
Pats couldn't beat the Giants.
for nothing.
That was that the undefeated season where they lost?
Yes.
In Miami, and Miami has the
I
undefeated
thought that was like
season.
2010.
That was the thing.
2011.
Like,
You're right. You're right, June. It was
No.
later.
That was 2010. 2000.
No, oh come on, Pay. You should know this one.
oh, the Bears and something.
It was the Bears and
No.
the Colts.
Oh, I'm thinking 07 the season, not the 07 the date.
07 the date.
Okay, yeah, that is the Bears and Colts.
And
I
the
love the
Bears
tangents
went
we're going
choked it.
on.
We don't gotta talk about that.
Too soon. Hey, it's too soon.
We gotta talk about that. Hall of Famer Devin Hester with a Super Bowl touchdown. We'll take that though.
Devin Hester rocks.
Yeah,
That dude was a terror from
Miami
Minnesota.
guy.
goat. He's a goat.
Nope, 29-17. Tony Dungy over Lovie Smith.
Oh,
Okay.
so
Yeah, Usher. Yeah, I feel like in 10 years, this Usher performance be thought of like it's one of the best ever. One of the best ever. I don't know what number to be. I don't. It's too soon to give it a number, but I feel like the longer it sits with us, it simmers and it manifests, festers rather. It was like, what? That's probably the best I've seen in a long time. Usher, he put on the show. He put out. He's got a great catalog. He put out every banger in 15 minutes. He was dancing on skates. He brought out all his friends. It was amazing. It was amazing.
Now, he put hands on Alicia Keys. That if I was her husband, I'd be a little bit perturbed. But
who's a high profile artist? That's what makes it important. But yeah, he definitely gave you the highlights of like, oh, remember this, remember that. Like there's definitely some parts that you can recall later on. He gave you the moments.
well, he has a great catalog. It's for R&B. Usher is fantastic. Now I like Rihanna too, but
we all did.
Didn't Eminem and 50 Cent, didn't they do one recently?
Last
That was
year.
in LA.
Was that just last year? Okay, yeah. Hanging up. 50 was hanging upside down. Like,
Yeah.
they usually don't disappoint.
but the best ever was Prince.
For sure.
One of
I gotta
my
go back to that
favorite musicians. He was at the 2020 one, the last one in Miami, and his was kind of disappointing, but it was COVID. I'd give him a mulligan. All right, so let's go ahead and take a break before we can start talking about some off-season football, guys. How you feel about that?
Sure.
Let's do it. If you're listening on audio, check out some of our advertisers, show them some love. If you're checking in with us live on Instagram, X, YouTube, or Facebook, give us 10 seconds. We'll be right back. So the rest of the NFL is finally caught up to where we are, the offseason. Let's hope that our head start can bring us closer to the Lombardi for next season than it is for San Francisco and Kansas City. Dave, I'm gonna start with you. What's happening down there in Viking land?
Vikings land is everybody's talking draft, but I'm sure that's the case across the league. And I know it is across all four of the NFC North teams. But the big discussion is within the last 24 to 48 hours or actually a little bit longer ago than that, because it was on Super Bowl Row, Mike Florio interviewed Justin Jefferson. Justin Jefferson was making the rounds. People were asking him, well, do you care who's the quarterback next year? Blah, blah, blah. Must it be Kirk? And Justin Jefferson is like, I'll play for anybody, gets the ball from anybody. Doesn't matter, which is its own story. But the big deal was when they asked about a contract extension, Florio asked some very pointed questions, and the responses came back weren't exactly to the point, but they indicated that Minnesota and Justin Jefferson agreed on numbers last year. We knew that was the case going right before the season started. What they couldn't agree on was guarantees. Well, it turns out from Florio's articles, the guarantees that Justin Jefferson's looking for is a fully guaranteed contract. And we're talking somewhere in the range of 5 years, $185 million. That's a lot of money. Now, is he going to become the highest non-quarterback paid player in the league this year? Most likely, yes, he will, on average per year. We expect it to be at least $35 million, if not a little bit more. But will he get it all guaranteed? Well, that's a big ask. The NFL does not, I repeat, not want to do guaranteed contracts. There's only been two, Kirk Cousins and Deshaun Watson. And I think both teams may have regretted them at certain points in time of their contracts. Kirk Cousins has made the most out of his. We'll see if Deshaun Watson does, but it is interesting. And the reason why it's interesting is the NFL has rules that once a player signs a contract, and if there's guaranteed money in it, that guaranteed money needs to be put in the bank in an escrow account right as he signs the contract, or within 24 hours, to make it valid. So it's there. If anything happens, he's got his money. It's sitting in an escrow account. He may not get he's not going to get the whole thing, right up front. The player, he'll get a signing bonus portion of it, but he won't get the whole thing. And it sits there in the bank. Well, not all teams can liquidate that much money to put into it. And think about it. If it's 185 for Justin, that's $185 million. And then any other signing you have that year, be it free agency or your draft picks, any guaranteed money on top of that has to be liquidated and go in a bank account as well. So if a team has to generate over $200 million a year, $250 million a year just to put in a bank account, not all teams are able to do that. Some are cash strapped, and it makes it hard. Yes, there's billionaires paying millionaires, and we all weep for them, but we do want parity and we do want competition. And you gave me an example before the show how you guys got Khalil Mack just because that particular team in the Raiders was cash strapped and they couldn't afford to give him the guarantees. So they had to let him go. And voila, he becomes a terror in Chicago.
All pro.
Oh, God, he was miserable for us. But that is the biggest talking point right now in Vikings land. That and what are we going to do with Kirk Cousins before March 13th when the new league year kicks off? Are they going to extend him before that? Or is he done in purple?
Yeah, as you said, this is that rumor season. As soon as the Super Bowl over, all the rumors start. It's believe one thing, don't believe it the next day. I get you. You gotta make the still get the clicks. You got anything interesting going over there in Detroit? June B. Foster. What's the word over there, man?
So yeah, as you said, it's kind of a dead season right now. But we did make a couple signings that were interesting to me. We got a guy named Matthew Betts, who's a I think he played linebacker, but was basically an edge rusher, and he had 18 sacks last year. But this guy is uh, the Canadian Football League, so he's a guy that
Oh,
I don't know to what extent that translates, but I appreciate the effort to try to bolster the edge rushing game. I don't know, you know, I don't know as far as how that translates, but I appreciate the effort and the fact the 18 sacks. That's a whole lot of sacks. So, we'll see where that goes. And then we also signed a guy named Traquan Smith, who didn't play much last year, but he was drafted by the Saints a couple years ago. He's got 18 career touchdowns, and his best year he had 34 receptions. So, you know, speed guy, good hands. It's another position that is not of high need. Well, edge rusher is of high need, but the receiver, not so much. But worth a look going into the off season and training camp. But aside from that, Julian Okwara, one of the Okwara brothers, actually got signed by the Eagles. So now we only have one Okwara brother at this current moment. Edge rusher that hasn't really produced much, but he has found another home. But as far as just guys that have been in the news that maybe looking for new spots, Hassan Riddick of the Philadelphia Eagles, who has been given permission to seek a trade. He's a guy that's a little older, but good production last year. It's 75 PFF
still a
rating.
game record.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's we need that. And then there's no necessarily any smoke there as of yet, but somebody that we may be looking at though, as far as trades are concerned. 91 PFF and third no 91 is the other guy, 75 PFF and 13 sacks, but also Khalil Mack. Obviously, we kind of talked about Khalil Mack a little bit, but San Diego's got some cap issues. They got a whole bunch of money tied up, and yeah, they may be looking to dump him for his last year that he's under contract, and he had a boatload of sacks, 17 sacks. That's insane. So
Please say whatever's on your mind right now.
yeah, because there was so much in that right there. Like y'all want him back? Like, is that what?
Yeah, please.
Well, I mean, for one, the first thing I had that came to mind was like, okay, so we got real sacks, and then we got the fantasy sacks coming from the other guy. All right, so you want the proven sacks from Matt. Okay, I get that. No doubt about it. I would prefer that you stay from digging in our garbage can and leave him out of the division. That's pretty much all I had on that. He's still a very productive player, even at this stage.
You said, wait. No, you said, nah, he had 17 sacks last year, right? Correct?
Yeah, he had a lot of sacks. Yeah, 17 sounds about right. I don't know off the top of my head, but that sounds about right. It was a topic of discussion in some Bears circles. Like, man, we could have just kept Justin if because we ain't getting the production from the players we traded for, not Justin, but Khalil Mack. We could have just kept Khalil Mack because we ain't getting the production from the players we traded for him, and B, he's still dominant. So that was a topic. That was a talking point for a good little piece of the season. June.
Yes, sir.
Opposite of the pie in the sky from your co-host. What kind of subtractions can we expect from Detroit? Well, at least are you hoping for, to make room for some of these massive additions?
I wouldn't say hope, but I think one person to pay attention to is what they're going to do with Josh Reynolds, starting wide receiver. Most notably ended on a bad note, but at the same time, I think ideally they wanted a more explosive receiver at that point, even before the mistakes or even before the season, like, that's just an ideal position where you feel like if you have another explosive receiver out there to go with St. Brown and J-Mo, that you could be more dynamic in what you're doing because the offense is really, really good. Now, we're not just going to be honest and upfront about it. The offense has shown flashes of greatness and has been pretty solid. So I think the biggest thing to watch is what they do with Josh Reynolds, their decision on him. And I think there's a offensive lineman because they have a couple of them that they have to retain. Be on the lookout for what happens there. The Brad Holmes has stressed and said openly the money, the free agent money, he's going to work on the internal spending first. And that was a priority than getting anybody out on the free agent market. So obviously he wants to keep a lot of people intact. So
That's true. Yeah, I agree. Your 11 personnel for the last season and a half has been one of the best in the entire league. Do you think like a wide receiver should be like at the top of the list for Detroit this offseason?
no, I never said that. I just know Josh Reynolds is a person who's I think it's either his contract is up. So either they're
Okay.
going to either let him go or reinvest in him and bring him back for more years. I just think he's not going to be retained. The biggest needs are defensive end and corner. And for me, I think the bigger need is corner, but at the same time, if you don't address that defensive end, doesn't matter. I mean, if I don't care what corners you got, if you can't get home or if it can't guard anybody 6-7 seconds in this league, it's just that's the law. You gotta get to the quarterback. So it doesn't matter what you got at corner. So
Speaking of defensive ends, there is rumor that hits Vikings land, i.e., reporting. Now it is smoke season.
I've heard that though. I know where you're going.
That because Danielle Hunter's contract is up, it voids March 13th. He becomes a free agent.
Mm-hmm.
The Vikings have an opportunity to extend him if they wish. They're debating that. A lot of fans would like to bring him back. He's obviously still very productive.
Mm-hmm.
He's 29. He'll start the season at 29. He'll turn 30, but he starts the season at 29. We'd like to bring him back, but we may not because he's going to cost at least $20 million, probably closer between 20 and 25 million a year on his next contract because he is good. The rumors we've seen or the reporting is that one, Detroit is very interested in him. Two, even Green Bay, the man in the middle, is interested in him, even though they have to, they've got cap issues they're dealing with, and they're going to have a sale on some people. And three, that Chicago, the Bears, are very interested in signing Danielle Hunter as well. So it's going to be interesting to see where he goes.
Yeah.
Whether he ends up back with us in purple and stays a Viking for life, or if he goes to a division foe. I'd hate to root against him because I know how good he is.
Yeah, so I guess perfect segue to the Bears segment. So if we signed Danielle Hunter, great player, I would consider that as a plan D. Like we struck out in that area again for whatever reason. I have him fourth, maybe fifth best edge or defensive end out there available. So I would welcome him. You know, he's better than Yannick Ngakoue, better than what else we was throwing out there opposite Montez Sweat when we got him. But Danielle Hunter is definitely plan D because, as you said, he's been around for a little while. I would prefer to get someone younger, someone still in their prime and someone who can grow with the squad. So we are a young team. But outside of that, Christmas has come early for the Chicago Bears, or at least for this Bears fan. Today, we announced that we have changed the door codes. We've asked a couple of players to clean out their lockers, turn in their playbooks, and go figure it out somewhere else. Hit the bricks, if you will. Longtime safety for the Chicago Bears, Eddie Jackson and Cody Whitehair were released about maybe 2 hours ago, and I am ecstatic. Cody Whitehair was, I'm not going to mince any words. I'm not going to blow any smoke up anybody's butt. Bad. He was benched a few times in the season. I think he got sat maybe on 3 different occasions. Not very good. He was one of our three problem areas on the line, but we still made it work in some way. Eddie Jackson, a couple of Pro Bowl seasons with the Chicago Bears. His last was not this past season, but the season before last. His first season with Matt Eberflus. Everyone thought that he was going to have a career resurgence on the Eberflus. Not to happen. The same things crept up on him. He's inconsistent health, which isn't necessarily his fault, but his inconsistency to make a tackle. At the safety, you cannot play safety and you can't wrap somebody up. He thinks it's Madden. He wants to hit stick everybody, and his hit stick is 5 yards off every time. One of the things that annoys me the most about when I'm watching football is missed tackles. Missed reads is one thing, is another thing, but missed tackles, can't do it. Wrap up, please. You've been doing this since you were 8. Please do that. So I've got that off my chest. I was waiting on that. So cutting those 2 players has saved the Bears close to $22 million. So now we're looking at close to $70 million in the cap.
Damn.
We to be spenders. We do not need to play any poor man games like we did last offseason. We had all that cap room last year, barely spent any of it. We need to address the defensive ends. I know all of my competitors in the division, they want to do the same thing. We need to rush the passer. We need to beat you to it. We need to beat you to the passer and beat you to getting that guy. Brian Burns, he might be out there. Josh Allen, he might be out there. Even Chris Jones, he might be. I expect Chris Jones to be available. I expect it. I don't expect him to go back and say, you know what, let's 3-peat. Nah, I need to get my money and come to Chicago and get it, please. I would drive you personally to the nearest Chase to deposit the check, but you need to be in Chicago when you do it. Dave, what's up, man?
I was about to say you got some plenty of draft picks and a couple in the top 10, and there are a couple at least 2 that I can think of off the top of my head of edge rushers in this draft class that I would love to have. One in Verse and the other one in Chop Robinson.
What about Latu? No love for him?
Yeah, and Latu. There's 3. Thank you, Foster.
They're slotted in. I didn't think they were. I think that was one edge or end that was projected to be a top 10 guy.
I don't think if it was, it's probably Verse, but Latu would be close, and Chop is usually right around bottom of the first, top of the second.
Okay, yeah. The Bears better not draft. The Bears cannot trade down again. I'm going to put it out there. Whatever that means, however you read it, it is unthinkable to have the number 1 pick or a top 10 pick in consecutive years and trade down twice. I don't do it. Don't become a Jeopardy question. Don't.
Number 1 pick. The Bears are on the clock. The Bears trade down. Well, I guess they're keeping their quarterback.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I'm not. See, where the Bears need to fill. The Bears need to fill some problem areas. They need to address some problem areas. And this draft isn't the best place to do that, at least not where they have the capital, not the top top of the first. Like you said, maybe in the second they can play some games and get that guy. That would be cool. I wouldn't be averse to that. But number 1 and number 9, stay put and get the best player on the board, please.
Quarterback and wide receiver?
No wide receivers, thank you. I've had my fill with wide receivers. Let me change what I said. Get the best player on the draft board that isn't a wide receiver. Thank you. No, Brian Poles, Bears general manager, cannot draft any more wide receivers. He cannot trade for any more wide receivers. Don't do it. He has a strange affinity for that position, and he doesn't really scout it very well, in my opinion. So let's not do it.
Remember Muhsin Muhammad?
Yeah, I remember Muhsin Muhammad.
He didn't start it. He was drafted by the Panthers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or no? Did he?
Mm-hmm.
I just want to slander a Michigan guy. I want to say he went to Michigan.
Wow.
Lost your.
But hey, the 2 guys you cut today, they were on contract for 2024, correct?
Yes.
Okay. First, you hear it first, people. The first cuts in the NFC North come from Chicago Bears.
Yeah, well, I mean, we were the worst team in the NFC. Well, almost the worst team in the NFC North. So they had a lot of things they need to fix. So let's start early. With that being said, gentlemen, how are you all doing? Yes, you did. Yes, you did, Foster. Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
Ask you, BJ. Who there was somebody y'all drafted as a running back that went to Michigan.
Anthony Thomas.
Anthony Thomas. That's who it was.
I could have told you that.
Yeah, we talked about it too. Yeah, we talked about that. Okay, that's what it was.
BJ Askew went to Tampa.
Askew went to
or the Jets. He went to the Jets first, and then he wound up at Tampa. So yeah,
messed up. Muhammad's actually from Lansing, in fact. So he's literally from Michigan State.
Yeah.
Anywho.
Didn't he go to Carolina?
Where can we get all the Detroit Lions news as it breaks, gentlemen?
Say again, I'm sorry.
Where can we get the Detroit Lions news as it breaks?
You can catch us at Bleachers and Speakers on YouTube. You can also catch us at Motor City Metrics YouTube, any of the podcast streaming platforms. Just type in Bleachers and Speakers, FFSN, and you'll be able to, whatever platform you choose, just type that in. You hear the latest. We're dropping more news and more. There'll be more drops, of course. We have been dropping like 2 or 3 times a week. We'll probably have something new just about every other day at least, if not more. So
awesome.
You can find Vikings. Yeah, you can find Viking stuff over at Vikings First and Skull on YouTube, your favorite podcast aggregator, and if you do Vikings First Skull in .com, you'll find us over on FFSN on the writing side as well. We just got finished last night. Tyler Fornes had the Real Fornos show. We went over his top 10 QB prospects for this year's draft, since Minnesota is in the draft market for a quarterback, most likely the quarterback of the future. Whether we re-sign Kirk Cousins or not, it looks like the Minnesota Vikings will be selecting a quarterback. So we went over the top 10, and you can drool over those top 4 choices, including J.J. McCarthy from Michigan, who's moving up. You can find it all there. We're putting stuff out almost daily. I think at least 6 times a week. You can find us at all 3 spots, and you can find podcast-only stuff on the podcast side. You can find YouTube only stuff, our Skull Search series, where we break down an individual player for the draft, is YouTube only. And you can find the written side where we have written pieces that are written only. So make sure you check them all out at Vikings First and Skull. And as all of us here, we're partnered with Fans First Sports Network, by fans, for fans. And we love our sports, all of them, except for maybe Green Bay's. But
Wow.
Eloquently said, per usual, there, Dave. Yeah, so if you're watching this, it's too late. You already know where you can get this on the audio side because you've been seeing the scroll at the bottom. You can subscribe to us, Apple Pod, Spotify, Google Pod, Pandora, Amazon Music, and wherever you get your audio fix. The Bear Claw DBC is wherever you can find us. We're everywhere. For video, we are located on Instagram, YouTube. Check us out on YouTube at The Frustrated Chicago. We're on Facebook, X, or Twitter, as the older people call it, and Threads. You can check us out there as well. We got all your breaking news. If the Bears do something great, we'll be there. We'll have a live show for you to talk about it. If they do something ridiculous, which they probably will, we'll be there. We'll be there maybe a day later after we process the grief. So, but don't go anywhere else to get your news or your tidbits. We got it for you. Check us out at all those locations that I just mentioned, and we'll be giving you something at least 2-3 times a week during the off season, leading up to the draft. And the biggest question of the off season: what do the Bears do at number 1? If you all have anything else, let's do what we do.
I just want to say congratulations to Brad Holmes for winning Executive of the Year. And, Amon-Ra St. Brown, our all-pro receiver, is about to get paid. Looking like $25 million a year, possibly. I don't know how official that is.
31.
and we lose Foster.
I was just saying, Amon-Ra St. Brown deserves 31 a year.
Yeah, and I suspect he's going to get paid close to that.
Yeah. Those are football guys cutting him off.
Mm-hmm. Underbidding him.
Because he called Musa Muhammad a Wolverine. That's why.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
But as a Vikings fan, we always say, "Skol Vikings!"
Toilet flush.
Restore the roar, June. All right. And you all know, bear down.